Ever wondered if astronauts play I Spy with My Little Eye during space travel? Spoiler alert, they don't. They're too busy dodging black zones. In the vast expanse of space, there are areas known as black zones. These aren't the star-studded voids you might imagine, but they're just as intimidating. So, what exactly are these black zones, you might ask? Well, they're areas in space where if a spacecraft were to fail, the survival of the crew on board would be, to put it lightly, highly unlikely. Consider the recent Boeing Starliner mission. NASA astronauts Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore were tasked with not just navigating the cosmos, but also avoiding these deadly black zones. You could say it's a bit like playing a cosmic game of Frogger, but with significantly higher stakes. Now, the Starliner isn't an ordinary spacecraft. It's been designed with cutting-edge safety features to help avoid these black zones. It's a bit like driving a car with the best GPS system out there, only your route is filled with cosmic radiation, microgravity, and the occasional space debris. Despite the literal astronomical odds, our intrepid astronauts express optimism and readiness. It's a testament to their courage and the incredible technological advancements that make such missions possible. I mean, who needs an adrenaline rush from skydiving or bungee jumping when you're dodging black zones in space? So, the next time you're gazing up at the night sky, spare a thought for our brave space explorers. For them, it's not just about marveling at the beauty of the cosmos. It's about navigating a treacherous landscape filled with black zones where one wrong move could spell disaster. So instead of I spy, it's more like, I hope we don't fly into a black zone today. Now let's meet our brave pioneers, Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore, who apparently enjoy a good game of space Russian roulette. These two intrepid astronauts are set to take a joyride on Boeing's Starliner spacecraft, aiming to reach the International Space Station. It's a bit like taking a cross-country road trip, but instead of dead zones for cell coverage, we're talking about black zones, where survival would be, well, a bit of a challenge. Suni Williams, an experienced astronaut with a few space rodeos under her belt, is a woman of steel. With her previous stints on the International Space Station, she's no stranger to the perils of space. But this time, she's up for an all-new adventure, ready to play hide-and-seek with the deadly black zones. Then we have Butch Wilmore, a former Navy test pilot with a grin that says, "Bring it on." He's the kind of guy who'd probably volunteer to test drive a rocket through a supernova just for the fun of it. When asked about the upcoming mission, he simply shrugged and said, "Well, it beats dealing with rush-hour traffic back on Earth." Despite the risks and years of setbacks, these two are all set to embark on their journey, demonstrating a level of optimism that would make even a motivational speaker blush. It's as if they're about to go on a vacation, only their destination is a floating laboratory in the middle of space, surrounded by deadly black zones. Their readiness for the launch, despite the potential for black zone encounters, is either a testament to their incredible courage or a sign that they've watched Guardians of the Galaxy one too many times. Either way, there's no doubt that these astronauts are made of sterner stuff than most of us. Confidence or a strong desire to make a quick exit from Earth? You decide. Let's talk about the Starliner, or as I like to call it, the Boeing Black Zone Avoider 3000. Now, this ain't your grandpappy's spacecraft, I'll tell you that much. It's smart, it's sleek, and it's got a real knack for avoiding those pesky black zones. Kind of like a stubborn mule that's learned how to read a danger sign. The Starliner's been designed with safety at its core. It's got a few tricks up its sleeve, or should I say, under its heat shield. One of those is the ability to switch between different flight modes. Think of it like a really advanced gear shift in your car, but instead of park, drive, and reverse, it's more like orbit, descent, and abort mission. Another feature is the ability to manually control the spacecraft during descent. Imagine you're coming in for a landing in the middle of the desert, and you spot a nice, soft sand dune that's just begging for a spacecraft to touch down on it. With the Starliner, you can take the wheel and guide it right to that spot. Just remember, it's not exactly like parallel parking your pickup truck. And then there's the abort system. Now, space travel ain't exactly a walk in the park. Things can go wrong, but with the Starliner, if things start to look a bit dicey, you can hit the eject button and hightail it out of there faster than a coyote with its tail on fire. So, you see, the Starliner isn't just a spacecraft, it's a smart craft. It's designed to keep its crew safe and sound even in the harshest conditions that space can throw at it. The Starliner doesn't just boldly go, it boldly knows when not to go. With the Starliner, it's less Star Trek and more star avoid getting wrecked. So you're probably thinking, Space travel sounds like a hoot. Well, buckle up because it's not all fun in black zones. Sure, the view is unbeatable, and those zero-G somersaults might give the gymnasts at the Olympics a run for their money, but space travel comes with its fair share of risks. Remember the recent glitches with Boeing's passenger planes? Imagine those happening in space, where you can't just make an emergency landing at the nearest airport. In space, your nearest pit stop might be a few million miles away, and I'm afraid they don't serve snacks. Now don't get me wrong, the good folks at NASA and Boeing aren't taking any chances when it comes to safety. The Starliner spacecraft is like an overprotective parent, constantly checking and double-checking everything. Did you pack your parachute? Are your seatbelts fastened? Did you turn off the stove? It's designed to handle all sorts of what-ifs and oh-nos, including those pesky black zones that could turn a routine space trip into a scene from a sci-fi thriller. So, what's a black zone, you ask? Well, think of it as a no-fly zone for spacecraft. It's a region where, in case of a failure, the astronauts wouldn't stand a chance. Like the Bermuda Triangle of space, if you will. But thanks to the Starliner's advanced safety features, our astronauts can navigate around these black zones much like you would avoid a traffic jam on your way to work. Except in space, there's no alternative route with a scenic view, unless you count the infinite abyss of the cosmos as scenic. So, next time you're complaining about your GPS taking you on a detour, just remember, at least it doesn't have to avoid black zones.